Hello everyone and welcome to PendulumEdu, and in this session we are going to discuss a set of words for you from an article, and this is going to be really important because the words that we are going to have today are the ones that are rarely put up forward in the usage, but they are frequently asked in your exams. So be prepared for this. If you haven't subscribed the channel yet, do subscribe it right away. Let's begin with today's session, and the article for today heads as Curbing on Air Bigotry. Curbing on air bigotry, like we're trying to control. Curbing, we all know it means controlling. Bigotry is noun, okay? On air bigotry. Bigotry is the offensiveness, ऑलराइट, जिसे हम हिंदी में कहते हैं कट्टरता, ओके उस चीज़ को जो कंट्रोल करने की कोशिश की जा रही है. किस लिए कहा जा रहा है? ऑन फ्री स्पीच, हेट स्पीच एंड रेगुलेशन, जो कि हवा में बातें की जा रही हैं. वेदर यू टॉक अबाउट पीपल हैविंग राइट टू स्पीच, whether people have the right, since people have the right to speech, sometimes the speeches are the hate speeches, like they are negative, and the regulation. So all of this is said to be in control. Now how? Let's discuss in the article today. The distinction, this is noun which means difference, okay? दोनों में जो difference है, जो variation है, जो असमानता है, that is distinction, okay? Between free speech and hate speech should be at the heart of regulation. Like an individual or each one of us should be aware of the difference between the free speech and the hate speech. It should be at the heart of regulation means it should be the center of discussion. It should be the key point that a person should acknowledge and know. The Supreme Court poses to the Union government on the measures it can and is willing to take against communally slanted. Communally is an adverb which means corresponding to community. It can be a particular community or it can be other like communities, but communally कहते हैं ना सामुदायिक तौर पर. Alright. Slanted television coverage should not end in undesirable consequences. Communally slanted television coverage, which means you must have seen the news channels. They are communally slanted, like they are biased towards one. It can be a Hindu community, it can be Muslim, it can be Sikh, it can be so based on different this is just on basis of religion. It can be basis on the political parties also. So particular group, or you can say the groupism technique or thing is there, and it is slanted, मतलब झुका हुआ है television coverage एक तरफा, किसी भी एक community की तरफ. So Supreme Court has asked that measures should come up and should be taken and is willing to take against, like to go against or to give punishment to people who take biased or who give biased coverages, and it ultimately results in negative results, like negative consequences. The questions appear to be an attempt to elicit a commitment. Elicit is a verb, okay? Elicit means to evoke. कहते हैं ना उगलवाना, ठीक है? कोई चीज़ को प्रकाश में लाना, किसी चीज़ को सबके सामने लाने की जो कोशिश करते हैं हम, सच उगलवाने की कोशिश, that is elicit. A commitment to a course of action that will curb inflammatory journalism. Inflammatory is adjective which means provoking, जो उकसाता है. तो जो प्रोवोकिंग जर्नलिज्म है, इन्फ्लेमेटरी जर्नलिज्म है, उस पर रोक लगाई जाएगी ऑन ब्रॉडकास्ट मीडिया. However, the court's warning that if the government fails to explain its mechanism to deal with the problem, it would create one on its own may take the debate down a slippery slope. It is saying that if in case the government fails to explain that how it is going to deal with the problem, then it will create another trouble and there will be another debate, and the the debate that is ongoing about free speech and hate speech, it is going to take another twist and turn, and it will go down. Because they go down, it will down a slippery slope, which means it will get worse. Okay, the situation will get worse if the government fails to explain how it is going to take care of it. Moving ahead, the writer also states that the court is hearing petitions against the communal color given by some channels to the incidence of large clusters of COVID-19 infections among those who attended a Tablighi Jamaat event in New Delhi. So this is an example quoted that there is a communal color given to those people, okay, who were present at the Tablighi Jamaat event, and this is famous because the plus cases or the increment in cases is much or more or less blamed or accused, okay. The portrayal is noun, which means the depiction or description. ओके एक कहते हैं ना उदाहरण के रूप में वर्णन करना, या फिर आप कह सकते हो वर्णन. So the portrayal of the participants as intentional super spreaders was vicious and motivated. Vicious is an adjective which means it was atrocious, it was bad. Okay, कहते हैं ना भद्दा, खराब, अत्यंत बुरा, that is vicious. So they were given this tag as that they intentionally spreaded the virus. They did it intentionally. They were the super spreaders, and this tag or this accusation is said to be vicious and motivated. Curiously, the center seems reluctant to intervene. Reluctant is again an adjective which means hesitant. कहते हैं ना जो व्यक्ति हिचकिचा रहा है, तो जो अभी भी देखिए अगर गवर्नमेंट जो है it is not willing to intervene, it is not coming up to interfere and take this into notice and consider it, while the court seems to be battling for greater media regulation. The court seems that the court itself, Supreme Court, like from the very beginning, so the court is trying its best, but the government is not giving proper support or cooperation. Further, it has been said, the center's affidavit. Affidavit, we all know it's a noun. I'm going to wipe off the screen and explain it to you. Affidavit. So, affidavit happens to be a noun subject, which is a written permission, you can say, or a written document to be signed, okay, so that the affidavit or that particular thing can brought into you. So it is like you can say patra hota hai ek, okay, shapat patra you can say. Stated that media coverage predominantly is an adverb which means mainly, मुख्य रूप से, okay, that is predominantly, it is an adverb. मुख्य रूप से struck a balanced and neutral perspective, and that it was open to the viewers to choose from a number of varying perspectives given by different media channels. So center जो है उन्होंने कहा है कि वो एक proper balance लाएंगे, जो मेजरली वो कर रहे हैं, दैट्स अ बैलेंस एंड न्यूट्रल पर्सपेक्टिव देने की, और उन्होंने कहा है इट इज़ ओपन टू व्यूअर्स टू चूज बाय देयर ओन चॉइस डिफरेंट मीडिया चैनल्स के थ्रू, वो अपना जो चॉइस है वो खुद करेंगे. However, the court is keen to know that what action has been taken under the Cable Television Networks Act against offending broadcasters. So the court wants to know that under this act, that is the Television Networks Act, Cable and Television Networks Act, what action has been taken against the ones who have already breached or one who have offended the law. One hopes that the center's position arises from a commitment to media freedom. Abhi kya ho raha hai? Because center is not intervening, it is not giving active participation in this, then people are having sort of doubt in their mind that is the center government committed to the media houses or media freedom, and is not based on a partisan leniency towards channels that peddle a certain narrative that suited its interest. So again, so there is a confusion whether the government wants media freedom to be taken care of, or it wants to serve its own purpose and serve as a partisan leniency. Partisan is used as an adjective, leniency is the noun. Leniency, you all know, it means carelessness. और जो partisan होता है, partisan as an adjective, it means biased. कहते हैं ना एक तरफा. And leniency, carelessness, जिसे हम कहते हैं ढील. तो ये जो लीनियंसी, जो पार्टीशन लीनियंसी, जो एक तरफा जो ढील दी जा रही है गवर्नमेंट के थ्रू, क्या वो अपने इंटरेस्ट को सर्व करने के लिए दी जा रही है? क्या ये भी संभव है? सो इस तरह के जो क्वेश्चंस हैं, दे आर राइजिंग एंड इट्स वेरी ऑब्वियस बिकॉज द गवर्नमेंट इज नॉट विलिंग टू कम अप एंड टेक द रिक्वायर्ड स्टेप. The court appears unconvinced that the present mechanism of self-regulation, the National Broadcasting Standards Authority, is effective. So the court does not agree to it that whatever is happening or the process that is in use as of now is effective. It does not agree to it. It would be in order if the self-regulation mechanism deals with departures from normative journalism. So they say that we have to separate self-regulation mechanism and normative journalism. So आपको जो मीडिया हाउस अगर खुद को ही सेल्फ रेगुलेटरी है, उस चीज़ को थोड़ा सेपरेट करना पड़ेगा. ये मैकेनिज्म हमें अलग करना पड़ेगा. गवर्नमेंट हैज़ टू इंटरवीन. And the government is in any case empowered under the act to prohibit transmission of programs that violate the program or advertising codes under section 19, and even an entire channel in public interest section 20. So the government has the entire right. This is the rights given under the act of the government, but still government is, again, I would say, partisan leniency is what is seen on behalf of the government. And if center government is not intervening, is not coming up with an active participation, then the only thing that can be deduced at present moment is that government is letting its interests serve and it is not doing anything. In the past, channels have been asked by the INB ministry to take some programs off the air. They were asked that to shut or to close certain programs. There is no doubt that egregious violations. Egregious is an adjective, learners. It means violent or atrocious. Okay, भयंकर जिसे हम कहते हैं ना हिंदी में, egregious. Violations of norms are not uncommon. So there were people who came up with violent response to it. Depending on the damage done to individuals or institutions or even society at large, there is enough scope for action under the penal law. However, there is a class of violation of norms in broadcasting that stands apart. So there was a lot of damage done when this statement or this point came up of removing or just rejecting a few of the programs, or take few programs off the air from the television, then there was undue, or you can say egregious violations that people came up. People reacted to the situation in an aggressive manner, and there was a whole lot of damage made. The writer also states that the case of Sudarshan News, which began a series that propagated, that spread hate, propagated is verb, phailana, hate against Muslims, is a flagrant example. Flagrant is an adjective which means clear, evident, स्पष्ट, एक बहुत ही क्लियर ब्लैटेंट एग्जाम्पल है, बोल्ड एग्जाम्पल है. ब्लैटेंट और बोल्ड, ब्लैटेंट दोबारा लिखती हूँ, ब्लैटेंट. ओके. The government has merely administered a caution to the channel and asked it to moderate the content of the future episodes and avoid breaching the program code. Breach is a word which means to break, तोड़ना, या आप कह सकते हो उल्लंघन करना. So the government asked it politely not to do this again and take care of the future content. In September, while ordering the suspension of further episodes, the court distinguished between free speech and hate speech. The distinction should be at the heart of any order creating a new mechanism, if at all one is needed, to deal with broadcast media excesses. So if in case we need to deal with the broadcast media, we have to be aware, we have to ensure that whenever this comes up, we have to portray it clearly to the public at large, so that there is a basic understanding and there is no confusion, if so any is there. So this is the entire article for today, learners, and it is important when it comes to speech, whether it's free speech or hate speech, but to propagate something that can instill negativity in people's mind and brains, we should avoid it definitely. So this is what the government is suggested and advised to do, to intervene and take hold of things. The list of the words that we have discussed today is there in the link given below in the description. You can go and practice the words from there. Do not forget to like and share the video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, do subscribe it right away. Thank you so much.